Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Natalie and today I'm doing what I read in June. 3/4 of the books that I actually read were all from my A Day in Reading, which I have basically like spoke on them, so I'm not going to go into too much detail. But then I did also read another book which I can go into a bit more detail about, so I'm gonna do that for you now. This stupid accent that I always do, yeah, it's got to stop. So the book that I most recently read is Twisted Love by Anna Huang, I think you say it, and I liked the book and I liked how it was written. Like, I really enjoyed it. So it was your romance, but I feel like you have other bits to it. Like, it felt like not a thriller in a sense, but I'm just gonna say like thriller, with a lot of romance inside it. But obviously it's a romance between Alex and Ava. Alex really annoyed me as a character. Like, I just found him super annoying and like overbearing. I understand like his background was like really sad, and like it was understanding to why he is the way he is, but I found him really irritating. Like, when a guy would talk to Ava and he'd start talking about killing him, like, you're dragging it. Like, it's just not that serious. So for that reason I didn't really like Alex. I just felt like it was just far too overprotective, but it was just like, it was taking it way too far. Like, it was just too extreme and it was a bit much. And then his kind of stalker vibes at the end, I was like at first it was like cute, but then it was like, oh brother, you've been doing this for a long time, like chill out. You've got Ava, who has her own like backstory of her aquaphobia, and you see why that came about, her overcoming it and stuff like that as well. And just overall, Alex is meant to be there, has vowed to Ava's brother Josh that he will protect Ava while Josh is away in Central America or something like that. I can't remember where it was. But he's vowed that he's going to protect her, and then obviously they end up falling in love. So we've got the brother's best friend. He's incapable of having feelings, but he ends up having feelings for Ava. But overall, it's actually a really good book. And like, aside from their love story, the other bits of the book with Alex's personal life and Ava's personal life, and going back on their traumas and stuff like that, was super interesting. And how it was written, I loved it. So I'm not gonna rate the book just now because I have just finished reading it like yesterday. I don't want to be like, I give it 5 stars, because then in like 2 weeks I'm like, that's not 5 stars. In terms of the spiciness though, there was like a lot of like spicy bits in this book, and I think they were really well written and descriptive. But I wouldn't say it's like a complete spicy book, because it's not solely focused on that. Like some other books I feel like focus completely on just that, but this, I feel like you get a lot more aspects to the book. But overall, the spicy scenes are still pretty raunchy as well. I would recommend reading this though. Okay, and then I also read Beach Read with January and Gus, which again was in my last video. I really liked the book in terms of like a nice easy read, and like something for summer, where it's like a summer romance that obviously remains. But they're away at like holiday homes in Gus's like hometown sort of thing, where like he grew up, and they're both authors and they challenge each other to write in each other's styles. So one did a romance, and then I don't really know what type of books Gus writes, but they're a bit more like not happy endings. And then we had January, who didn't like Gus because they went to college together, I think it was, and she felt like he was taking the mick out of him, but the whole time he just admired her. So that's basically the story, like an enemies to lovers, but I don't actually see it as an enemies to lovers type of trope. January, who is dealing with her father's death, and that's the reason why she ends up at that home, because her father had a little secret and the house was left for her. So she's there to sort that out and like sell it and stuff like that. Some confronting bits for her in the book, but I would highly recommend it. I think there are bits to the plot that I didn't necessarily expect, like with Gus. I would recommend the book, and I think it's great for like summertime. And overall, I just think Emily Henry's writing is really nice, and it's very easy to keep reading her books, if that makes sense. The way Emily Henry writes is like really nice and engaging, and descriptive, and it's like you can imagine being in the scene that she's set, if that makes sense. I don't know, I don't even think that's what I was trying to say, but I've forgotten what I was actually trying to say. But overall, like, I like how she writes. You do laugh a bit with the things she says. Like, she has like quite a good bit of humor in her books, and I do like that, and I find that quite engaging for myself as well. Beach read, I'd probably give it like a 3.5 out of 5. Thriller time. So I read another A.R. Torre, which I really, okay, I've read one of her books, but I really enjoy her writing. Like, I think the way she writes is quite captivating, and it keeps you engaged, and it's like you never really know what's gonna happen. And I feel like she writes a lot of like unhinged things, because like every time, it's one time, oh no, 2 times, but I just think she's quite unhinged, like in her writing, like with the things, the scenarios she comes up with. I read The Good Lie, and this was a whirlwind. Like, this one took me on a ride, but I loved the book so much. We're following like a lot of people in this book. Like, there's so many characters to remember and keep a hold of, and how they all tie in to getting the answers for the end is crazy. So in the book, it's basically about, there's a serial killer on the loose that seems to target rich, popular high school boys. He like captivates them, and I think he like tortures them for a bit, and then he ends up killing them and dismembering their body parts and then dumping them. One of the last boys that he captured ends up getting away and escaping and getting back home, and he's able to then go and like tell the story and stuff like that. He says it's like a school teacher, and then an attorney takes on the case pro bono for the school teacher, but his son was actually a victim of the serial killer. So it's like, why are you taking on the case when your son was supposedly murdered by this guy? He gets like this psychiatrist, like therapist person who deals with people who have violent thoughts and stuff like that to help him on the case, and like analyze the guy and see if he could possibly do it. She has her clients that have these violent thoughts, want to like murder people and stuff like that, and I think that's what I'm going to do without giving away too much, because what I've said does not give away the story. That could basically be found on the blurb, but I feel like if I speak too much, I'm going to tell y'all everything that happened. Not y'all. I'm going to tell you everything that happened. Sorry, I get the ick when British people say y'all. Like, leave that to the Americans, and I've just done it. But yeah, I'm not going to say too much because I don't want to give away the story. I don't want to give any spoilers in case you do want to go and read it. But the book just is so unexpected. There's so many plot twists in this book where I was like, what the actual hell is going on? But how everything ties together is crazy. So yeah, I highly recommend this. I love A.R. Torre's books. I need like some good thriller like recommendations and stuff, because I feel like I don't want to just stick to A.R. Torre. Like, I really need to expand, but I don't want to just go based off of like popular TikTok ones. So I don't know what I'm gonna do in terms of that. But look, this stupid accent I keep doing, I couldn't even tell you what part of America I think I'm trying to like mimic. But yeah, I don't want to just go to TikTok and go based on them like popular books. Like, I kind of want to try and figure it out myself, or based off of what other people think are good ones, and go from there. Because whenever I go from TikTok, I think my expectations are just far too high, because people hype things up so much on there, and then when I read it or like do something, for example, whatever, I'm always like, yeah, that was not like the TikToks. I'm gonna see if people have recommendations. So the last book I read is, of course, Happy Place by Emily Henry, and I'm obsessed with the cover of this book. Like, this is one of my favorite book covers that I've seen so far. If you get it in Asda, if you're in the UK, they've got the pink, like all the pages are like pink. So cute. But I got it from Amazon, so I ain't got that. But yeah, this book I was so excited to read. I thought it was going to be drama central, and it kind of was to an extent. Like, there were bits of it where I was like, oh okay, I wasn't necessarily expecting that. You got a group of friends and like friends slash couples, and they go away every year to a like beach house sort of thing, because one of them, it's her dad's like property that he owns, and he's selling it, so they're there for like one last hurrah. Harriet and Wynne have like broken up, like they were engaged and they've broken up, not told their friends, so they're gonna fake it while they're there just for like their friend's sake. And then it kind of shows like within like a friendship how people can start to like drift apart, like based on like their own differences like going on in their life and stuff, but we see them kind of rekindle that, and that was kind of a part I wasn't expecting. And then we also get to see how Harriet and Wyn had initially met and how they grew close to end up being together. And then yeah, so it's going from that, but it's also seeing that they start to do things for themselves, which is kind of why they grew apart, and just better themselves and whatnot. So that's basically like the, not going to say the moral of the story. It is a really entertaining book. I found it quite funny, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. I probably would have liked if it was dual perspective. I would have really liked being able to be in Wyn's head. Is that his name? Wyn? I think it is. Yeah, in Wyn's head would have been really nice. But overall, there's really good character development, I feel like, for the both of them. And even though I didn't get to see it in Wyn's perspective, I feel like it was still possible to see how Wyn has improved himself and stuff like that, like over the time of reading it. So from when they was in university to where they are now as adults. Like I said with Emily Henry, I love her writing style, and it was really like, there was bits I was actually laughing, like where I found it really funny when reading it, and it was interesting. I really liked the book and I would highly recommend it for like summer as well. I know in the last video I was like, oh, it's not giving me summer vibes because they had like a little bust up, but no, it is actually big summer vibes. I would definitely recommend this, and I wish I had like a beach holiday coming up at some point soon, because this would have definitely been my book of choice if I hadn't already read it. But yeah, if you're going on the beach and you want a book to read, I'd recommend this, because it's just going to keep you in that holiday mode. So that is all the books I read in June. I think overall, I actually had a good reading month in terms of like the books I read. I loved them, and also like I think I've read enough where it's like I can actually take in the books and not just read just for reading's sake, if that makes sense, like if you get my drift. But I'm really excited for I probably won't read much in July if I'm honest, but I'm excited for the books I'm gonna get, that I'm gonna have in mind to read for July. But overall, the books that I read this month in June, I would highly recommend. I think they're great for like the start of summer, and I feel like we're really in summer. But I think like they're really good books to have that summer vibe, nice easy reads, nothing where you have to think too hard. I enjoyed them. If you read them, I hope you would too. That is it from me. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.